Alright guys, back again. I get to do some of these things when it's rainy. Noah and I are out here, and what we've just done, and you'll get to see the test footage, but we decided that there were a few things I wanted to know more about this M. For one thing, I did what you're not supposed to technically do, but we thought we'd give it a try. I took the old head gasket and I painted copper coat on it, and I put it back on, torqued it down real well, and I wasn't sure if the engine block had any cracks or anything in it. Not sure if the old head gasket's going to hold just the way that we put it back on. So what we're going to do here, and you'll see in just a few minutes, is we're going to crank this tractor up, and we are going to run it on jumper cables, because for some reason every now and then the alternator doesn't charge. There's a short in the wire. I need to make a whole wiring harness for this tractor. We're running on the jumper cables. We're going to fire this thing up and run it for 2 hours at 3/4 throttle and see what happens. See if we get any coolant in the oil or any oil in the coolant. Now, like I said, there's some copper coat in that coolant. I flushed it once and refilled it with water because I wasn't going to spend a bunch of money on antifreeze if we're having an issue. Water will come right out here when we're done. But I noticed that there was some rust and some other stuff in there, so it's good to flush the system, keep going. And when I first fired this up the other day in that short, I noticed there was a little bit of sparkly copper coat in there, and I'm pretty sure that's squeezed off of that head gasket when I torqued it. We're going to fire this thing up, get it good and hot, let it run hard for a couple hours, and see if we heat this engine up, if anything opens up or if anything lets go. So what we're doing here is we're just letting this thing run it kind of revved up for a couple hours. And yes, I'm still running jumper cables on it ever so often because I don't think that my alternator's charging. If it's short in the wire or something, it charges, then it doesn't. If you take jumper cables off on that old dead battery, it won't run. But the idea here is we want to make sure this engine block isn't cracked anywhere, we haven't seen. We'll make sure our head gasket holds up. So what we're doing is we're running it really warm. Then we're going to go ahead and check the coolant, which by the way is just water right now. I'm going to put antifreeze in it later, and we'll check the oil, see if we get any issues from that. Surprisingly, for having honed that cylinder, we are not getting any smoke whatsoever. We're not burning oil, so that all seems to be working out pretty good. Fuel system's cleaned up, it's working good. Might need a little bit of carburetor adjustment yet, a little bit running rough, but right now we're at 3/4 throttle, which is not bad for just firing something up that's set for 10 years. And I haven't adjusted the valve lash either, so I need to do all that. But I'm not going to put any more money into this thing until I know for sure it's going to run without, doesn't have a cracked engine block anywhere that we can't see or anything else bad going on. This thing will sit here and run warm like it is right now. It's finally warmed up to where I can barely touch it. We'll let this thing sit here and run for 2 hours and get really good and hot and nothing happens. I'll probably air that tire up that has a slow leak, and I might try to tie onto something like that old grater blade or something and really get it warmed up as much as I can to make sure there's nothing mixing in there. Well, she's been running for just shy of 2 hours. Let's take a look. Still running a little rough. Water looks good. Thermostat's open. Not boiling hot. I'm going to let her run for a little bit more, and I'm going to air that tire up and take a spin. We'll hop on there and see what that's like. Still don't have brakes, so I got to be careful. Okay, we about got our tires aired up. There's probably enough juice in this battery. We have a little gas. Probably enough juice in this battery to run for 4 or 5 minutes. So I really want to try this thing out. So what we're going to do, get our tools off of here, move some stuff around. We're going to fire her up, and I'm going to take her for a little spin. And I'll take you guys with me and see what you think. Contact, hopefully. Might take a second because it ran out of gas. Or not. M&W friction throttle. Give us a little throttle. I know you got to push, the clutch isn't adjusted, so you got to flat push it to the floor. There we go. There's that power steering kicking in a little bit. Woo! Finger. Wide front tractor of this era that you can finger turn. That's pretty awesome. Whee! And it's actually fairly tight. It needs a new steering wheel, but steering is not bad on this bad boy right here. And yes, the hood is up a little bit because they have that giant alternator in there. And it doesn't exactly shed on it. I got to do some adjustments to that.
How's she run?
After several hours of running hot and hard, here's the oil. I don't see a bit of water in it. It just looks like motor oil. So I think our reused head gasket full of copper coat survived. I will say, man, that power steering is a dream. It just time for a steering wheel, wiring harness. Got to put the drawbar back on the back so I don't have to get my parachute out to get down. Other than that, I know I have my hydraulics working already. I got to build them out for those, but we may be ready to go feed some cattle with this thing. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'm glad you came with this journey. Maybe eventually we'll tear this thing down and do a real restoration. For now, all it's getting is a steering wheel, some fenders, and the hydraulics fixed up on it, tire tube like I said, and the brakes. It would be nice to have brakes and a wiring harness. Anyway, see you guys later. Thanks for watching.